Today we're going to be taking a look at two new maps for Post-Scriptum, both made by the community. One, a historical replica, the other, not so much. In fact, complete fiction, but a freaking awesome map nonetheless. If you're new around here, we give away a Steam key at the end of every week. If you're interested in that, just stay tuned for details on exactly how to enter. First up, we have Simonskull, a quaint little valley town not too far from Hertgen in Germany, established by an iron smelter in the early 1600s. Now, what makes this map so cool for Post-Scriptum gameplay is the way that its main town and objective is right in a valley. For the most part, the mountains are densely covered in forest, but there happens to be plenty of sightlines for armor to fight right across the mountains, with the infantry clashing below. Rather unique and not really seen yet within the Post-Scriptum official maps. Now, there's also rain layers and night layers, layers that switch the attacking and defending side. This is simply offensive layer 1, and as to keep this video more or less a summary of each map, we're simply going to do a flyby of each capture point, taking a look at all of what the map has to offer. So, coming hot out of the Allies' main base, we are going to zoom over to the first point, which happens to be right on the edge of the mountain. And after you take this first point, which is called trenches, you then have to backtrack back up the mountain, up where the fields are, to take like a small little cropping of buildings. And here is the first point, trenches. And if you get a logistics guy here quick enough, you could probably improve the defensive quite a bit until the Allies get there. And once the Allies take the trenches, they come falling back onto the fields in the high elevation, and they zoom over to this cropping of buildings that they will then fight over next. I love the look of the foliage on this map. It's almost like early fall, late summer. Here you see a dilapidated half-track and just an old farm barn. If the Allies are successful in taking the second point, the third point is farmhouse. And this is probably my favorite point on the map, just the way it looks. Now, this isn't the farmhouse, excuse me. This is just a little outcropping of buildings. And probably caused you trouble on your way over there. Definitely caused you trouble with that big old gun. But all the way over on the other side of the map, here's another dilapidated farmhouse. And all the way over to the other side of the map is finally capture point 3, the farmhouse. Oh, excuse me. One more dilapidated farmhouse. This is kind of in the backyard of the farmhouse. And then here's finally the actual farmhouse. And if any of you have been on a European farm, you will know this looks super familiar. This is exactly what they used to look like. Almost like a little compound. There you can see a German Rolls Royce sitting in front of the house. And if the Allies are successful in taking capture point 3, they then have to start making their way down the mountain over to capture point 4, which is basically the beginning of the city in the valley, Simonskull. Now, as you can see, this little town is positioned directly between two mountain ranges. Now, you could probably bet that there's going to be a lot of armor or any other kind of big guns set up along those ridges. So you better believe you're going to need a real strong armor game to be able to really compete on this map. Oh, looky here. Here's a historic spot for sure. And you can really see it in this more recent photo. Spot on. Gotta love the little historic bits. You got the beautiful little babbling creek running right through the middle of the little dainty town. And yes, the town may be really small, but that's only going to call for more fierce battles to be fighting over it. Now this little house here reminds me of a historical house. Now this is definitely something already from what the devs have created, but it matches pretty darn close to this historical building. And here it is present day, still standing strong. Oh, and look back there. At the bottom right of your screen is an old bunker. That bunker's still there. Pretty cool. Now on the north side of the town, running up and down the steep side of the hilly mountain there is a goat path. A serpentining, meandering goat path that leads all the way down into the town. And then, of course, all the way in the south of the town, set up on this little hill, is this dilapidated church. And lastly, all the way at the most southern point of the map is the Germans' headquarters, which is actually pretty darn close to Simon's Skull itself, at least compared to the Allies. The Allies is way farther than the eye can see. And that's pretty much it for Simon's Skull. If you've played this map yet, let me know what you think down in the comments. Definitely a cool little map considering only one person made it in a matter of months. Just shows what you can do with a little hard work and dedication. Moving right along, this next map is the fictional town of Ramel. It was featured in the very end of Saving Private Ryan. You may remember Tom Hanks' character laying down on a bridge, shooting at a tank with a 1911. But before we get into it, let's give away another freaking Steam key. Scoopin' McPoopin', come on down. Claim your prize. Alright, now everybody else, don't go tell them, because we got to see if Scoopin' McPoopin' actually watches these videos. Only my true viewers win freaking Steam keys. I don't do this shit for my health, you waterheads. Anyway, on to Ramel. Now, Ramel, although it be fictional, is like a small little map with a little bit of outskirts around it, some woods. But I could really see this map being like a server seating map, being that it's small. And it, you can probably have a good time with just like 20 versus 20. Anyway, we're going to do the same thing we did with Simon's Skull. We're just going to take a quick look at each capture point and maybe compare it to the history, or should I say movie. So in this map, the Americans will be defending the town of Ramel. Right here is where the Germans will be starting out, the attacking team. This is their headquarters, and it's not far at all from the town. Very quickly will the first engagement happen as the Wehrmacht descends upon Ramel. There's plenty of cover on the way into the city, as you can see. And the city itself is dilapidated. Almost all the buildings are bombed out and depleted. The very first point the Wehrmacht will have to take is this here church. And we all remember this here church, don't we? I mean, how could you forget? Parker, get out! Now, if and only if the Wehrmacht succeed in taking this first point, the church, they then move on to the southern part of the town, and they then have to take the Alamo, which is right on the other side of this bridge. Now, this is probably where you're going to see the most intense combat. As you can see, it's like a no man's land and then a funnel. Now, luckily, this wasn't in the movie, but in the game, there's small little footbridges on either side of the actual bridge. So, flanking is available. This right here is where the radio was, the actual Alamo. This is gonna be a bloodbath. Now, if, and of course only if, the Wehrmacht succeeds in taking Ramel, they then move south. Now, this is just a little cute little chateau over to the side, but the Wehrmacht will move on to the south through these fields and woods until they eventually make it to this radio station. This is the third point. And of course, some rather fierce combat will go down here, as it is rather open. And I can see the Americans putting a lot of logistical assets onto this capture point to try and defend it. Now, I was just messing around and taking a look at the top of the radio tower, and pretty sure a sniper's range can reach, at least from here, over to the church. And vice versa. The church can look over to the radio tower, which is pretty cool. I'm sure whoever made this map had that in mind. Now, if, and only if, the Wehrmacht succeeds in taking the radio station, the third capture point, they then move on through the woods in these fields east. Now, there's a lot of cover in these woods, trenches and downed logs, downed trees, a lot of stuff to get behind and hide, to sneak attack people. Now, they'll keep moving. It's quite a ways through these woods until they get to this little no man's land. Now, here they have like these, not foxholes, but I would say little dugouts to where sharpshooters can get into and really, give the Americans some trouble. However, they're going to need some smoke cover or something to really cross this no man's land, because it is kind of open. Only a few patches of woods in between. Now, on the American side, they have literal foxholes, which I haven't really seen. I don't know if this guy made his own asset, but I don't know why I haven't seen these foxholes in earlier maps, because it's definitely a freaking foxhole, and there's about 20 of them. I love this thing, man. This foxhole is cool. So the Americans will just be poking their little heads out of these holes like gophers, and the Wehrmacht will have to play whack-a-mole. And right where these foxholes lay is where the last and fourth point is, the Bloody Gulch. They take that, it's game over. Wehrmacht wins. Now, not far from the Bloody Gulch, right through a couple cornfields and some farmlands, you have some farms scattered about over here, but not too far from the very last point, Bloody Gulch, you have the American Main. And that's it, folks. Welcome to Rommel, in the outskirts of. Like I said, this is a perfect little map for seeding servers, kind of like Best. You just don't know when to end your freaking videos, do ya? Whoa, chill, bruh. It's over. The video's over. Just got a teeny little sponsor to shout out. Raid! Shout! Just joking. Just gonna give these girls and gals a chance to win a freaking Steam key. And to do that, all you gotta do is be a little part of our community around here. The Discord link is in the video description. Come through to our Discord, shoot the shit, catch a game. Once we get enough freaking Discord members, we're gonna go populate all these old, like, Darkest Hours and Day of Infamies and Forgotten Hope 2. All these old gyms. We'll just go and freaking take an army over there. Army of people and pop it with 50 to 80 people. But anyway, that's just a dream of mine. Maybe when we have like 1,000 Discord members. To win a Steam key, all you gotta do is be a part of our little community. Of course, like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and drop a comment. But most importantly, within your comment, leave your Discord name and number. That way I know the right person gets the prize. Alright guys, I want to thank you all for watching. If you're new or even a vet to Post-Scriptum, be sure to check out my Post-Scriptum Guides playlist. I guarantee you will learn more than one thing, no matter who you are. Again, I want to thank you all for the support. We're barreling towards 2,000 subscribers. This is awesome. Thank you a million times. And freaking y'all be good to each other. I'll see you in the next one.